Okay, let's start then. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Am I visible to all of you? Okay, because I got a message that I was not. Okay, so we saw a few verses last time up to 39, I think. And any questions or clarifications on that? Ending with Shraddhavan, Labate, Jnanam, etc. Any questions, any clarification, or is it all clear? Especially since last time the recording was not very clear. So I have to create a summary and put it up. I hope today it comes on well. No questions? Okay. So last time he had said Shraddhavan Labate Jnanam. Okay. The last verse that we saw was that one. So now he is showing the flip side of it. What happens when you don't have that? Okay. Okay, he says, Ajñasya ashradhanascha samsayatma vinashyati nayam lokosti na paraha na sukham samshayatmanaha. Very important statement he makes here. Okay. Ajñasya, one who is ignorant of the truth. Even relatively, okay, of things, Ajñasya. Ashraddhanasya, who does not have any Shraddha. Okay. Does not have any Shraddha, he says. Therefore, he is nothing but Samshayatma. Samshayatma meaning he is a bundle of doubts, skeptical, cannot trust anything or anyone. Such a person, he says, vinashyati, he is destroyed. Na ayam loka asti, na paraha. This loka is not there for him. Nor is the other loka. Other loka here it talks in terms of self-knowledge, etc. Na sukham samshayatmanaha. Nor is there worldly pleasures for him. Just imagine a doubting Thomas. In today's world, there are so many things you need to trust. If you don't trust, you are in a big soup. Your partner in life. Just imagine what will happen if you don't trust. It's equally valid for both man and woman. You don't trust. Person is going on a business trip. Whom are you going with? Where are you going? What are you doing? Why didn't you take my call when I called you? And it was a business trip. I was in a meeting. I was in a dinner meeting. What dinner meeting is? 10 o'clock in the night. You will drive the other person away from you. Your kids you cannot trust. Why are you half an hour late from school? Kids get sidetracked by a lot of things. What are you talking about? Who are your friends? What are they doing? How many of them are smoking? How many of them are taking drugs? I mean, it's endless. Can't trust yourself to do the right thing. What do you hope you achieve? With a mindset like this, what do you hope to achieve? Na ayam lokaha, na paraha. Relationships are destroyed, whether it's personal or professional. I have done training programs for more than 100 companies by now. More than 100 companies I have done training programs for. Not once have I asked them for a letter, for an agreement that I will do this, you will give me this. Not once. It's always been on a handshake. Okay, we will do this program, this. It has worked well. You want to say you never been cheated? It has happened once or twice. What is that? 1%. Big deal. Big deal. You can take it in your stride. So what? I am not asking you. See, Krishna is not asking you all to be naive. Okay? But to have a sense of trust. Okay, this is something I normally talk in my workshops, but since we can't meet live, workshops are a little bit dicey. There is a way of doing workshops here also, by going into your breakout room and things like that. Okay, it's possible even on this, but for that I have to first go and pick up a laptop. My tablet is gone, so it is beyond retrieval. So now I have to go and pick up a laptop. Never bothered to use these things before. Anyway, so do you know who's the best manager in the world? Any idea? Can anyone give me a name or anything? Wife, yeah, your wife can be a pretty good manager. Oh yes. In fact, one of my friends, who's a marketing expert, he has written a book called Learn Management from Your Wife. His name is Walter Vieira. Okay. That apart, I would say a 6-month-old baby. A 6-month-old baby? Yeah. Now, what can the baby do at 6 months? Even finds it difficult to turn over. Has started the attempt of turning over. Those of you who have brought up kids will know that. Don't ask me how I know, okay? I brought up 2 pairs of nephews and nieces, so I know. Now here, this baby, what can it do? When it needs something, it will cry. And when the caregiver gives it what it wants, the baby will reward you with a beautiful smile that even a tough old man heart like mine will melt. That's all the baby can do, cry and smile. 2 skills. No language. 2 skills. But with these 2 skills, makes the world go round. Makes its world go round. Why? Because that baby trusts in absolute terms. When you pick up the baby, does the baby think, will he drop me or not drop me? Baby doesn't think whether I will be dropped. You mean to say babies are not dropped? Of course babies are dropped. That happens. Even in hospitals it happens, I know. I mean, whoever drops gets hell, that's a different thing. But you are dropped. It's not unknown to drop babies. But the baby doesn't doubt it. In fact, if the baby doubted that you will drop every time it's picked up, by the time the baby is 1-year-old will have a heart attack. Why? It's picked up 1,000 times every day. And every day, will I be dropped? Will I be dropped? Absolute helplessness, but absolute trust. That's Ishvara's way of Ishvara's order here. I mean, the baby trusts in absolute manner, and it takes a sick mind to abuse a baby's trust. Not that babies are not abused, but it's a sick mind that can abuse it, not a fairly normal mind. So now look at that. In fact, forget baby, 6-month-old baby. The kid grows up, 2-year-old. I remember having this 2-year-old nephew. I used to lift him up and put him on top of the cupboard and things like that and say, come on, beta, jump. And he would jump. Without a doubt that, will uncle catch him or not? No doubt. In fact, after some time, he started scrambling up the cupboard himself through the window and everything like that. And I am walking into the room and suddenly, uncle, catch! And he jumps. Oh my God, I became a good martial artist because of that. Because he starts jumping, you don't know from where the kid is going to jump and I have to catch. My responses became very fast. A 10-kilo baby traveling at 10 for about 8 feet at 10 feet at 32 feet per second can be quite a bit, you know. Trust. We were all like that. What happened to our ability to trust? What happened to our ability to trust? We lost it because we felt betrayed. 3-year-old baby, 3-year-old kid, waiting for dad to come home. Why? He has promised me to get that toy. And daddy is delayed today, he is late. I'm sure he is going to pick up that toy, that is why he is late. And daddy comes home, daddy, toy. I'm sorry, beta. My directors and all had come, I got stuck in a meeting. I'll get it tomorrow. But daddy, 5 minutes to pick up a toy. How is that child going to understand directors and meeting and things like that? The dad is right, he couldn't. But the baby doesn't understand that, he feels betrayed. Mummy promised to make that sweet on Sunday. And Sundays the in-laws came over, both are diabetic. Which daughter-in-law will make sweets with 2 diabetic in-laws coming over? You don't know what the reaction of the in-laws will be. The child will be betrayed. If they don't want to eat, they will not eat. I can eat, no. And you see how difficult growing up is, how difficult parenting is. Betrayal. The child feels like that. The neighbor's boy promised to come and play. But the parents took the child out because they were visiting grandparents. Raju promised to play with me. Sense of betrayal. Then you grow up. School, later years of school and college. You're old enough to fall in love. You're old enough to say, I love you. But we are not old enough to keep that commitment at that age. People are growing up. Sense of betrayal. Hurt. Anyone forget their first love? Nobody forgets their first love. And chances are good, it is not the person you are married to. You don't have to tell, no, you can always say, no, you're the first person, okay, all that is fine. But you know, betrayal. And now here we are as young adults, or not so young adults. Trust. What trust? So much of pain inside, unresolved issues and pain. Childhood pain, the pain of growing up, the pain of fresh love, first love. Unless I deal with that pain, I cannot trust. Parents went to work, the child feels a sense of abandonment. Parents are not abandoning the child. Sometimes wrong punishments, shutting up the child in a room. forcing the child to sleep in a separate room in the dark. Kid grows up, fear of the dark. I had to handle this fear of dark with adults. I had to show them the beauty of darkness, the power of darkness, before they could get over that. In my camps, I had to do this. There were a couple of people who were afraid of the dark. Adults, okay, 35-year-olds. And I remember taking them out for a walk in the darkness to show how beautiful darkness can be. Not that they appreciated the beauty, they were too scared. But they got over that fear. So with all this, we are talking about trust. Chodo yaar. And then you have movies and stories that talks about betrayals. What is that popular one with kids? There is a popular, not a professional combat, it's just a show. WWE, Worldwide Wrestling. Kids love that show. It's a pure act. There's no fighting in it. Great acrobatic skills. But never trust anyone is their motto. Never trust anyone. Their motto. Then you have another TV thing, Survivor. Have you all seen Survivor? Quite a popular show. What do they say? Outplay, outlast everyone. In real life, if people behave like that, they are put on an island with very primitive conditions and things like that. In real life, if they behave like that, all of them will die. I have done my survival training. I know what it is to survive. How much you have to rely on other people. Here, they are always manipulating other people. Big show. You won $1 million at the end of it. But what are you teaching? To cheat people. It's entertaining, but for this factor. These are the images going in. Reinforcing what we learned in childhood, that you will be cheated if you trust. Very difficult. Then you will come to corporates and people like me will be called and paid a bomb for what? Trust building, for teamwork. What trust building? They have trust building exercises and etc. So exercise everyone does very well. Somebody will fall, you have to catch them and all that thing. There also people goof up. Unless you relook at your childhood, all those feeling that you felt, that pain, and learn to laugh at it. Say it is a child's vision of things, is not the truth. Even with that, your first love, come on yaar, I was not independent. She was under a lot of pressure from her family. She was young. She was also not independent. She couldn't stand up to the pressure. So it's okay. It's all right. You wish her well, or him well, and let it be. Let it be. Yeah. So it's all right. Okay, all this is getting recorded and put up, so certain things from my life I cannot say, okay? Otherwise I would have shared some things. Some wartime stories and everything. I can't record that. I'm not supposed to speak about it. Okay. So, this is where the question of trust and betrayal. So, unless you deal with those little bit things that are there inside. Now, how do you know something is there? Only if you find it difficult to trust. I am not saying we should trust like that 6-month-old baby or the 2-year-old kid. No, that is naivety. That is fine for the 2-year-old. For a 30-year-old, that is naivety. For a 20-year-old, that is naivety. But trust as an adult. You want to trust. Yeah. Very often I find people can't trust because they are not trustworthy themselves. I can't trust myself to do what I am supposed to do. Therefore, I will trust others. You know, in corporate this we play games. When once we can meet live, I will do some workshop with all of you. There are games we play where the possibility of cheating exists. And believe me, people cheat. Even though what is the big reward at the end of the day? Nothing. You have won a game. But they cheat. Why? Before he cheats me, let me cheat him. Let me get him before he gets me. Even MBAs who have done management programs about teamwork, this, that, etc. Their MBAs, they are the worst lot. When I have done training programs, I have found they are the first person who will fall for a temptation. All I have to do is just manipulate the temptation a little bit, they all fall for it. Why? Too competitive. I have to be number one all the time. You don't have to be. You can march to the sound of a different drum. So, because of all these factors, unless I take care of that pain, I know I can handle the pain. So, if somebody cheats me, I can still handle it, not a problem. Then what is the issue? If you can handle it, you are not afraid to trust. If you can't handle it, then you are afraid to trust. But if you can handle it, no problem at all. So that's why he says samshayatma vinashyati. If you keep doubting, you destroy yourself, he says. That is all. Samshayatma. You are nothing but a bundle of doubts. That person. Vinashyati. Some healthy doubting is fine, okay? You don't have to be naive. Believe anything and everything that somebody tells you. You don't have to be like that. And because I said all this about parenting, okay, now I don't want the parents to be full of guilt. I do take parenting workshop, but believe me, one rule is there are no real rules. There are certain guiding principles, that is all. The guiding principles. If you be careful before you give a word to a kid, and if you give a word, keep it. That's important. Like I remember my niece was staying with me when she was 3-year-old, okay. Now she's in her 30s and a professional and all that. But this was long back when she was 3 years. And I was going out, so I asked the kid, Betty, what do you want? When I come back. After all, uncle can spoil the kid a little bit. Uncle, jalebi. Okay. I said, okay, I'll get, no problems. So, then I remember getting down I had a whole day workshop, corporate workshop. Then I had my class, getting down in Chembur at about 9 o'clock in the night. I'm walking home. Just before I reached, a minute before I reached home, I said, oh my God, I had promised my niece. And I looked at the time, she'll be asleep now. But no. I walked up to Saroj Hotel. Chemburites know where Saroj is. The post office Saroj. So I picked up some jalebi and came home. So my sister was there. She said, why? She's asleep. She's asleep now, tomorrow. And fair enough, next morning, 7 o'clock, I'm just looking over what I have to do in my class. The kid comes on the table the other side. Mama, jalebi. I said, beta, I got it, you are asleep. The kid is, I said, thank God, I have not contributed to the child's lack of trust. Simple things like this. Parenting is made of simple things, not big things. Whether the child is yours or somebody else's. You can always help build a child, build a trust in a child, whether it's yours or somebody else's. Whether you are the biological parent or not, it doesn't matter. You can always love a kid. Thank God. Otherwise, how will adoptions be possible? It's a great thing to adopt a kid. That is another thing. There's always a dilemma. If you adopt, when do you tell the child you are adopted? There is no fixed rule. There is no fixed rule. The best rule I can give you, before the child finds out from somebody else. Before the child finds out from somebody else. And make it a celebration. Like I knew another lady a student of mine who had adopted a child, a girl. And she didn't know when the child was born, the birthday, etc. is not known. So she told the child when the child was 2 or 3-year-old, you are adopted and this we celebrate your coming home day. Because if the child finds out from somebody else, there will be a sense of betrayal. But why did my mama give me up? Your mama gave you up because she loved you. She wanted you to have a better life. She couldn't bring you up. She couldn't bring you up. So she gave you away so that you have a better life. So can you see, there is no lack of trust. There is no lack of trust. I have also seen, I knew this lady said, I will give my child so much of love that he won't even think he's adopted if somebody tells him. Wait until the teenage rebellion starts, then you will know. Wait until the teenage rebellion starts. You will give so much of love, you will create a brat. You have to discipline. The child requires structure. Of course, like how our parents whacked us, you may not want to whack a child, that's okay. We are whacked and we grow up fine, okay? No problems. We are all whacked. I'm sure many of us here were also whacked growing up. No? I was tough even as a kid, so my mom used to get canes and keep to whack, special cane. Of course, within a month the cane would be broken. Not only by whacking, no. I would engineer it in such a way that one whack and it'll break. Kids have skills, you know. Don't underestimate a kid. Kids have great skills. Yeah. Anyway, that I digress. Okay, I don't know what made me digress. Something made me digress. Okay, yeah. Anyway, therefore, this is as far as the trust is concerned. So once you take care of that, okay. Once you take, and if you are adopted, follow the same things. Okay. If anyone here has been adopted, follow the same thing. Yeah, the same line of thinking that I said, because that's how it is. Yeah. That's how it is. Okay. Okay. And you also trust the child enough. Adoption. What if the child wants to find his own parent afterwards? The child may, out of curiosity, it will happen. Just out of sheer curiosity. Encourage, help the child to find. Help the child to find. What's wrong in it? Child may be disappointed, yes. May be happy. You never know. I mean, you never know for sure. That's the joy of parenthood. And that's the challenge of parenthood also, because you never know how the child is going to be. Stop doubting yourself. You have done the right things. The child has come with his own samskaras, with its own prarabdha. The child will grow up the way it is meant to be. And we do what we can. Do what we can. But the question of trust, learn to trust for ourselves. Parenting is a game that all of us play, rather most of us play. Okay? Even I as a monk, even though it's not my kids of my own, I have played that game. Some of you are calling it a game. Better look at it as a game, then you'll enjoy it. Okay. So because I went into that parenting because the trust issues come up there as in childhood. So if you learn to handle it, the problems are less. As an adult, at least you can handle the problems of your own childhood. Yeah. In fact, there is a book on psychology. Of course, it goes too much into those psychological issues. Okay? Called Families and How to Survive Them. One of my friends wanted to write an Indian version of it. I said, I'll think about it. I'm not too sure. Okay. Then he goes further. Once all these issues, etc., are taken care of, then what? Yoga sannyasti karmanam jnana sanchinna samchaya atmavantaha na karmani navagnanti dhananjaya. Yoga sannyasta karmanam yogena karmanam sannyasta. Okay. Here yoga means jnanam. But the word yoga is included to take care of the lifestyle you led before jnanam, karma yoga buddhi, etc. Okay? And in karma yoga buddhi, the actions are not literally given up, but they fail to bind you because you are willing to accept the result. Therefore, the binding nature is loosened. Then jnana sanchinna samshayam. All doubts are destroyed by knowledge. That means you have retrieved your knowledge. The knowledge that you gain from teaching have been retrieved from all doubt and erroneous conclusions, etc. How do I do that? Discuss with each other. Ask questions. That's why always every class I say, is it clear? Any questions or clarifications? Especially because I can't see all of you. So I don't know. If I could see, then I can make out from your facial expressions, eyes, etc., whether you are understanding or not, or there is a doubt or not, and I can go ahead with that. I mean, I can see a few faces here, so that make me sometimes take a little diversion here or there. But otherwise, this thing. Yoga sannyasa karmana, jnana sanchinna samshaya, atmavantaha. Atmavanta means what? Everyone is an atma. But you are recognized what exactly you are. Atmavantaha. When you put together, okay? You are integrated as a person. The knowledge of the self as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman has been integrated into you. It is no more in some corner of the mind. It has become you. Na karmani nivagnanti. You are no more bound by any karma. You are no more bound by any karma or karma phala, he says. You are completely free from the whole thing. Okay. And now he gives us a rousing call to Arjuna in the next verse. He says, Tasmat jnana sambhutam hristam jnana sinatmanam chitvenam samshayam yogam atishta bharata. Yogam atishta bharata. Okay. Tasmat ajnana sambhutam kristam samshayam. The doubts that may be there in your heart, which are born of ajnana sambhutam, born of ignorance. Okay, born of ignorance. Jnana asina chinvenam. Atmanaha jnana asina. By the sword of Atma Jnanam. By the sword of Atma Jnanam. Chitvenam samshayam. These doubts, cut them across. Okay? Chop off all those doubts. And yogam atishta uttishta. Uttishta hai Bharata. Hey Bharata, uttishta, rise up. Yogam atishta. Live a life of yoga. Why? Because you still have to integrate the knowledge into yourself. You have just heard it. You have to integrate it. Therefore, yogam atishta. Hey Bharata, rise. So we can, this is a rising call for all of us, okay? Okay. Clarify your doubts. Destroy those doubts with knowledge and yoga matishta. Yeah, take to a life of yoga, karma yoga, buddhi. Move to that. Okay. Any doubts or clarifications up to now, or is very clear? Anyone has any doubt? Shoot now, because we are at the end of that chapter. So, as usually says, Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So, in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, which is considered almost like an Upanishad only, Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastra, composing of both Brahma Vidya, knowledge of the self, and Yoga Shastra, whatever necessary to take care of your mind, which is in the form of a samvada between Krishna and Arjuna. Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Chaturto Dhyaya. The fourth Adhyaya, called Jnana Karma Sannyasa. Jnanena Karma Sannyasa. Because there is a physical giving up. By a act, by a Vedic ritual, etc. You wear saffron, etc. That is physical, Karma Sannyasa, that is. Here, Jnanena Karma Sannyasa. Whether you are given it up physically and leading a life of a sannyasi, or you are leading a life of Karma Yoga, but Jnanena you are given up. Finally, everyone has to come to the stage of Jnana Karma Sannyasa. What is Jnana Karma Sannyasa? Recognizing that I, as Satyam Jnanam Anantam, cannot do any karma. I am free from doing, I am free from receiving. I am not a karta or a bhokta. I am Sachidananda Swarupa. Therefore, karmani akarmaya pashyet, what we saw earlier. Karmani akarmaya pashyet. In all the actions, to see yourself as free from all actions. Akarmani karmaya, that sitting down quietly somewhere is not akarma. Sabuddhiman manusheshu, etc. We had seen that verse. That is what is being highlighted. In the whole chapter, what is highlighted is that Jnanena Karma Sannyasa. This type of sannyasa nobody can avoid if you want moksha. You will continue your life as a karma yogi. You will continue your life as a karma yogi. Yeah. As a karma yogi, you have a life. But jnanena. This is what people foolishly, mistakenly say, I believe in mental sannyasa. You are mental, all right. What is mental sannyasa? And I turned around and asked the guy who said that. I said, if you are mentally a sannyasin, why are you afraid of the ropes? Why are you afraid of the ropes? No, I don't believe in the He is scared of sannyasa. This is called Abhaye Bhayadarshinaha. In what will give you fearlessness, you are seeing it as a source of fear. You can say, I am not ready for it, my kids are young. Yeah, come on. I am not ready for it, my mind is not ready for it. Fine. That's being honest to yourself. That's being honest to yourself. By saying mental sannyasa, etc., people are just justifying their stand. They are just justifying their stand. Now, I am not saying everyone should be sannyasis. All serious students should be sannyasis. I am the last person to say that. You know why? There should be a few houses when necessary, I can go and say, Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi. Self-interest. Okay. Yeah. No, that apart, he need not be. That's why he had said elsewhere, Janaka, Daya, etc. Be like, Janaka, etc., all the rishis, etc. They're all happily married, I presume. I suppose. Okay. Yeah. Can't be sure. Why? अरे यार क्या बोलूँ अभी भाई. People should understand from the stories, no? Veda Vyasa, before that called as Krishna Dvipayana, happily married to Vatika, Mahatarvan Javali's daughter, a Pandita herself. Okay, an expert in the Vedic lore. She was a Rishika. Happily married. Okay. And she found that Vyasa is behaving in a very familiar manner with Shantanu's wife, who by that time had become a widowed shortly after their marriage. Very familiar with her. How can she behave like that with her? Because she didn't know. She didn't know that she was her mother, his mother. So when he told that, he got a shock. Oh my God, okay, I didn't know that. And then you just imagine, girls get upset if their husband goes out for dinner with somebody else, another woman. Even if he says, Baba, it was only dinner, not dinner and breakfast. It was only dinner. Not even dinner and dessert, okay, only dinner. And here, Vyasa is having niyoga with the two princes. Because no heir to the throne. Niyoga was accepted in that culture and the society. It is something like your artificial insemination today. They are smart people, they didn't make anything artificial about it. So how would Vyasa's wife feel? She was fine with it, okay? She was a Rishika. She was fine with it. Okay. Yeah. She was fine with it. Or Kanva Maharshi's wife, her husband walks in with a baby girl and hands over the baby to his wife and says, we will treat her as our daughter. Is it yours? No, it's not mine. I don't know whose it is. It was abandoned in the forest. Yeah. Shakuntala. So I presume they were happily married, okay? From what I have read. Okay. So what I am trying to say is that lifestyle is not an issue. Knowledge is an issue. You can't compromise on that. So the next chapter is Sannyasa Yoga straight. Okay. Why is Sannyasa Yoga talked about? Because right in the beginning he had said that, no? Two lifestyles. Pravrti and Nivritti. That's what talked about. One seeking only dharmartha kama called pravrti lifestyle, one seeking moksha called sannyasa lifestyle. Then karma yoga is the conversion of pravrti lifestyle to also to seeking moksha. Because you have kept moksha as the ultimate goal. So is this part of it very clear? This jnana karma sannyasa very clear. Any doubts anybody has, shoot now. Okay. So what do you all think will be the most important thing to have to gain knowledge? Okay, that is external. Internal? Yep. Yeah. Shraddha, etc. Yes. In fact, Shraddha comes as part of the sadhana chatushtayam. Becomes the most important thing. Why? The guru is right or not, I may not know enough to check. I can only check. He's got a parampara. Does he have a guru? Yes, yes, yes. Has any of his students gained knowledge? In my case, it's easier a bit now for people because my own student is a teacher. Brahma Prajna, whom some of you know, she's a teacher. So it's a little bit easier. Okay, okay. Both sides it is there. Parampara is also fine. This side also is fine. So chances are good he is right. Chances, you can never be sure, okay? What about commitment? Yes, commitment comes in mumukshutva. That your desire for moksha is strong. See, one has to recognize the problem. That is the main thing. Do we recognize what exactly is our problem? It is not about doing, it's not about having, it is not about thing. It's about my self-judgment of what I am. I have taken myself to be a finite being, dissatisfied with life. And like that old song, My Time song goes, I will get no satisfaction. There's an old number like this. Old number like that. In my naval days, I have danced to that song. Okay, I will get no satisfaction. I don't know whether it, yeah? Yes. Yeah. Nope. Prarabdha can either help you or hinder you. My Prarabdha was good. Because of that, I met my Guru very early in life. At the same time, there were negative aspects in my Prarabdha because of which I had to struggle to go and learn. To be freed from your naval contract, etc. is not easy. So, yeah. Now, Prarabdha can hinder someone. Okay. It's appropriate at this part, since most of you are fairly traditional, to say this. If you have a weak guru means not me, don't worry, I'm strong enough, but weak guru in your horoscopes. Okay, guru meaning Jupiter. Okay, if that is weak, or there is guru dosham in your horoscope, then finding a teacher and going and studying from him will be difficult. It will call for a lot of effort. It can be overcome. Can be overcome. But it will call for a lot of effort. Because Prarabdha is now working against you. Maybe last time you were harassing some sadhus or teachers or something like that. Or 5 lifetimes back you did that. So something like that, if it was there in your horoscope, it shows that. Not otherwise, okay? Not otherwise. If Prarabdha is favoring you, things will be easier. Like sometimes, can you all hear me? Okay. Okay. Now sometimes what happens is, okay, okay, now sometimes what can happen is, if the guru is afflicted, you will have to put in a lot of effort. Your prarabdha is not exactly favoring you, but that doesn't mean you cannot know the truth. You will have to put in a lot of effort. I have known cases like that, where people have to really struggle to come to it. But the Upanishadic statement is very clear. The Upanishadic statement is very clear that yam esha vranate tena labhyaha. One who chooses it will get it. So you have to make your choice and struggle for it. Definitely this generation finds it easier, because my time you had to go to the ashram. There were no classes in society. Right now there are classes in society. So all of your prarabdha is good. In spite of sometimes a faulty connection or something, it's still good. Yeah. So the net is begging me to stop. Said बहुत बोला बाबा, अभी जरा रुको ना. So good place to stop here. Next time we'll start the next chapter, Sannyasa Yoga. So have a great time. Okay. So we'll stop here. Have a great time, a great Navratri to all of you. Today it starts. Do some Devi worship. It's always good to do that. Devi is a Shakti. Let her give you not only prosperity in life, but also moksha, this vidya, this knowledge. Okay? Good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.